Good morning, gamers. This is Ep3, and I'm back to do my How to Fix Gaming series. This is episode 3, and you can tell from the title, it's about yearly releases. Now, before I get to that, a little behind the scenes. I tried this twice, do this episode twice yesterday, but my microphone never picked it up. So I'm doing different methods with it, and I'll be more, behind the scenes. I'll be recording in short control bursts. So there's a little awkwardness, that's why. And it's a good way to cover up my actual awkwardness. But this time I'm being honest, And that wasn't a cut, that was me being just awkward. But that's not important. You want to know what I think. Don't know why, but maybe I say something agreeable every now and again. Yearly releases. Now that, in my opinion, is the greatest, one of the greatest plagues against gaming at the moment. It has corrupted gaming. Has corrupted it fully. Because now the quality of yearly release titles is going down. They make no innovation. And people complain about no innovation, and whatever innovation they do is terrible. Call of Duty is the prime example of this. Because every time they quote improve it, they end up throwing in a gimmick that makes the game worse. Now, let's be honest here, even though they have 3 studios with quote 3 years each to make a game, they don't have the time, more importantly, the financial resources. Because no telling how much of that $1 billion they make, how much actually goes to the studio itself. So I'm assuming probably a lack of funds, incompetent leadership, and lack of real innovation is one of the reasons why this series is absolutely atrocious. And Assassin's Creed was going down that road because of their yearly release cycle. They were literally making broken games. There's almost a mentality that they would make a somewhat decent game, but it had bugs, but they still had to release it, and they pretty much psychologically, mentally I should say, said fuck it, we'll just patch it. That mentality has damaged that series. Call of Duty suffers from a similar issue. It's not properly tested out. There's server issues. They refuse to innovate in the areas where the community wants to innovate. And I think it's because they don't have the time. And that they're not listening. And I have a proposal on how, if they want to continue with the yearly release cycle, then this is how they're going to have to do it. I'll get to that in a moment. But the key thing here is they simply don't have the time and the financial resources, because you have to take into account how much these studios get from Activision. How much does Activision pay these studios? And honestly, Activision working on an outdated mindset. When you see these commercials for Call of Duty, you don't need commercials for this series. You don't need it. What you do need is, social media. That's all you need now. You have to get trending. You don't need to spend millions upon millions of dollars on TV ads. As an outdated concept. Hell, even politics has to consider an outdated concept. Why do you think Trump's doing well isn't because of campaign ads. He only recently released a campaign ad. He uses social media to get his message across. He uses the gullibility of the media to his advantage. Free of cost to him. Game marketing, when it comes to gaming, and this so tie into yearly release cycles, need to start using those tactics. Need to find a way to use that free advertisement called social media to full effect. Now I'm getting slightly off topic, but it is related. I could probably do a whole video on that alone. I probably will, knowing me. But yearly releases have damaged series like Call of Duty, and it pretty much stretches creatively all these studios. Now, what's the solution to this? I mean, companies have to make money. Well, there's no denying that. We all have to. No one works for free. Well, I have a solution for that. Let's get rid of 3 studios. All 3 of them. Get rid of Sledgehammer, Treyarch, and Infinity Ward. Or just get rid of... Have Sledgehammer work on another series, because my information is probably extremely off, but I keep hearing that they did this Dead Space series. You might want to just tell them to do another horror series. Just focus on what they know, because Call of Duty isn't something they're good at. Just have Infinity Ward and Treyarch combine the studios under new management, none of the previous guys. Have someone new in there. Get the best of both studios. Tell them you're working on one game. You settle for a single continuity. None of this 3 timeline stuff. 3 timelines, it's getting a little confusing. Well, it's not really confusing, but some people obviously get confused by it sometimes. And I wish I could say combining these studios to form a super studio was my idea, but it wasn't. It was Horsick Zero's idea. But I'm expanding upon it because it is a very good idea. Instead of just having every timeline having a massive world war, since y'all are in love with world wars, and gaming-wise, who isn't? Except the actual thing. But hey, there might be some people out there that might want a real thing. But that's another issue for another time and another day. If you want that world war, set it. This new, rebranded Call of Duty. In this new world war. None of this future crap. Modern era. Have it tell each studio to focus on a single front of the war. Let's say the first game of this new revamped series, which I'm going to say this, if you want to keep doing yearly releases, this game I'm talking about has to be the last physical copy of the game, of the series. The last. And all the other stories that come after this is where my proposal comes in, has to be DLC only. I mean, it's clear that you don't want to improve the engine anyway. You don't have the time or the resources. So you wait a couple years, you flush it out, you get rid of all the issues, and then you release the last copy of Call of Duty. And you just keep updating it. So, story-wise, you say you can have Treyarch handle the Pacific and Asiatic theaters of this world war, while you have Infinity Ward work on the European, East Coast of the United States, and the Middle East fronts of this grand world war, and Treyarch at the West Coast of the United States if need be. And that's how you do this. In the 3 timelines, and none of this whole, oh, you magically win the war. Fuck that. Pardon my language, fuck that. That's why I hated Modern Warfare 3's story, because the way the World War ended was idiotic. It was plainly idiotic. Let's say, okay, the Russian president, you know, doesn't he have a parliament he can go to? Doesn't he have to get approved from parliament to make peace? That's what always bothered me, is a president doesn't have absolute authority, even in most dictatorships. There's the exceptions to the autocratic dictatorship, but the other dictatorships are more of an oligarchy. Well, this Russian president, even though his daughter was saved by Western commandos, special operators, he has to convince his fellow oligarchs that Russia should end the war. And the same with the President of the United States. He has to convince Congress to end the war. Because the President doesn't have the power to make war. At least, originally. Congress has that power. And I'm assuming that the Russian Duma has that authority. Though I will admit, I do need to do more research into Russian politics and control when it comes to engaging in open war against a sovereign nation like the United States. So I will admit my knowledge of Russian politics is limited. Maybe the Russian presidency has that authority, but I never bought it. I mean, obviously this president wasn't like Putin. I mean, he wasn't that strong-willed. He doesn't necessarily look like the kind of guy who had 100% authority from his political party. In fact, Makarov, and I forget what the Russian president's name, were from the same party. They were on the same side at one point. He just wasn't, the president wasn't as extreme as Makarov was. Which, if you look in the backstory, you're kind of ashamed that they never really showcased some of the backstory and going-ons in the Modern Warfare series. I mean, if they would have, showed that a little bit more, I think the love and appreciation for the Modern Warfare series would have been a lot better than it is now. Would have been 10 times better. To the point, I think, would have elevated the other ones. They would force the other studios to try and compete in terms of story. But again, this is another story for another time. I'm getting slightly off topic here. No, so backtracking. None of the new Call of Duty games should have you win the war. You can win a major engagement, win a battle, but you're not in the war. You can still have a variety of enemies. You can still fight enemies like ISIS. Hell, make that be the first game. You are fighting ISIS, and because of that conflict in the Middle East, a world war breaks out. Tensions between Russia, China, and America, Western powers, boils over, and we just have a clusterfuck of a world war. We can fight in any place you want. Now, would that actually happen? Probably not. But would it be great for a game setting? Yes, it would be. So that's how you do it. Now, you're thinking, well, alright, what's on the disc will be the fight against ISIS, which will be the prelude to the World War. What about the World War itself? I mean, you're saying this is the last copy. I'm hoping you're thinking that, because I'm about to answer that question. DLC. Every year, instead of releasing a $60 disc, you release a $50 season pass. Not pass, no, screw that, screw the season pass. I'm trying to find the correct word, because this will be truly revolutionary. Call it, let's say Call of Duty, you decide to do it this year, which you're not. It's going to be like years down the road. But for the sake of argument, let's say what I'm proposing happens in 2016. theoretical, stay with the theoretics, theoretical, okay? You do that. And then 2016 comes around. 2017! 2017! Still haven't gotten used to the year yet. Instead of releasing a full-on game that's separate and incompatible to the previous game, just release a DLC pack to the old game. Just release a story pack. Release a combination story and DLC pack. So you'd be adding to the old game. You'd be adding to it. You'd be adding a new story, which will showcase a front in this new World War. You'd be showcasing new firearms. You'd be showcasing new perks. Maybe even getting rid of some old perks. You can showcase new maps. Or it can be lazy and showcase old maps again, but okay, fine. You'd be showcasing new skins, new customization options, because you guys, we're not getting away from that one. But at least have it faction-based customization. I guess I'll get into this again. Instead of just having you just have random stuff, like all of a sudden a US Marine has a Russian helmet for some reason, have Russian troops look like. If you're playing as Russians, let's have it where you can only select Russian uniforms and equipment. And same with Americans, Chinese, and ISIS. Just do it like that. That's all you have to do. You do that, no more of this friendly fire incidents on Team Deathmatch, because you have no clue who your friends are in hardcore mode. Because everybody's a purple, dressing like they're from the 3rd Street Saints with a purple, never imagined soldiers going to war wearing bright purple armor. Fantastic how colorful the future is going to be. And how easily those poor dumb bastards are going to get gunned down. But that's another story for another time. You do it like what I've said though, backtracking. You release it as DLC pack, a yearly DLC pack. Alright? Every year, on October, November, you release the Call of Duty 2017 pack, Call of Duty 2018 pack. You get a new story, you get new weapons, and you can play on the old maps, the original maps. Let's say, this 2016, the last disc game. You can still play on it. If you want to do yearly release, the current method of release is not working for these series. You might as well combine your efforts, make a single continuity, a single timeline, focus it on that war, and just have DLC to add to it, to keep that game alive, and you'll still be making money from it. Activision, you'll be making money. All you have to charge is about $50. Actually, I would probably say $40, because in my personal philosophy, I don't pay anything higher than $30 for DLC, even for like season pass. If it's over $30, I don't buy it. But if you do this new model, and when people are thinking, when they pay that $30 to $50, they're getting a whole new gaming experience. Not just a couple of fucking maps and a couple guns you just thrown together in the last minute or cut from the original content. No, that's unacceptable. You make a single game. This is how important it is to me. Make one disc physical copy, and then you just have the DLC to it. I know I am repeating myself on this, but it has to be repeated. And that's how you do it. That is how you do this. That's how you end the yearly release. You end the monogamy, if I could use that phrase. Monogamy. and boredom of the same game being released every year with no real improvements, and whatever improvements there are, they're so crap that were not asked for, does not increase the experience whatsoever. Doing it in this route, you ensure the series' death, but you do what I propose. You make it into something more, something great, and you will change the entire market. Telltale showcases episodic series. Now, and in a way that's kind of what I'm proposing, but let's be honest, no one likes episodic content, no, he's not mostly, but if you release story and multiplayer, make it look like a full game. You're giving them a full game, not just like an hour's worth of content. That's what people think when they hear episodic content. You're getting a 2-hour worth of content. But if you do this method, make one single game, and every story, every map pack is a part of a new DLC game, an expansion pack. It's a screw DLC, expansion pack. That's what it is. It expands upon the original game. On building another game. If, let's be honest, you can give Call of Duty a 5-year cycle. Will the game be better 5 years from now? No. You will have to update the engine again. But that will buy you the time to update the engine if this new engine has issues. You can put more effort into building a new engine within that 5-year period. You can put more effort into creating better content. Because let's be honest, now if you're thinking to yourself, well, what about graphics? We want to up the graphics. Who cares about graphics? I am dead serious. Who cares about graphics? If they care about graphics more than gameplay and story, then these are the same kind of people that they love a cake because of the icing, not because the cake is fucking tasty. Pardon my language. You need to quit appealing to, well, to the intellectual equivalent to people who get distracted by shaking your car keys in front of them. That's who you're appealing to if you're going to go for graphics. If you are against this because you want to up the graphics every game, well, that's who you're appealing to. You're appealing to those who get distracted by jangling some keys in front of them. Don't appeal to that crowd. I mean, let's be honest, keep appealing to that crowd, our country is going down the drain. IQ-wise. Might as well not appeal to them. And besides, those idiots are going to buy your game anyway. Just so, they're going to buy it. They just won't get the keys dangling in front of them to distract them. You know how long, though, I'm going to be 100% serious here. You know how long a gamer focuses on graphics? 10 minutes. Of the entire game cycle, 10 minutes. Then they move on, and they play the game, and they don't even see the graphics anymore. They don't notice it. They will be in awe for close to 10 minutes, and that is a generous estimate. In fact, I think it's less than that. With me, it's less than 10 minutes. It's more like 2 minutes. I'm in awe for 2 minutes, and then I don't give a shit anymore. So me saying 10 minutes is actually quite generous. I've never met anyone who was at all at a game's graphics for a prolonged period of time, much longer than 10 minutes. So, if graphics are the reason why you don't want to do what I'm proposing, then you're looking at the wrong thing when it comes to gaming. You're looking at the wrong issue. And other games that have yearly release cycles, let's say, let's go back to Ubisoft. They decide to go back to yearly release cycle after this game. Why? You have. Just make one base game. You have the gaming concept there. It's there. You just add upon it through story-based DLC content from different areas, different regions. You can do this. It's very simple. Call of Duty, even simpler, because they don't update that shit at all. Well, they don't update it at all, let's be honest. Excuse the bad language. The process of making this video has made me quite frustrated given all the technical issues I have to deal with. So forgive my lack of professionalism, and I think I have gotten to my point. So hopefully everything, you would do this, you would do everything. Now granted, there's another proposal, this one from Horse60, who thinks Call of Duty should be a free-to-play game. That's another possibility. And you just have to pay for gun packs and such, map packs and the like. You probably will make more money long term that way. But, which I wouldn't mind. Personally, I prefer my method because it's kind of hard, mentally speaking, for some people, looking at you guys, to see the long term because you're stuck on the quarterly profits. You're looking at quarterly profits. And I'll say you don't want microtransactions in Call of Duty. You're doing it already. You're doing it already. Might as well go for it. Confess to it and go for it. It would make your series better for it. Because you'll be honest for once. And honesty, gamers reward honesty. They don't like being lied to. We want to be told the truth because we can handle the truth. And this, in my advice, also goes to like Rainbow Six, since they refuse to do a story. Battlefront, since they refuse to do a story. You can add a story via DLC. And just keep this game you have, the disc, for the next 5 years. And just keep adding to it. That's how you do this. But I've rambled on long enough, much longer than I wanted to. In fact, I wanted this to be like a 20-minute video at most, and I'm 8 minutes overdue. Typical, ain't it? Well, regardless. I'm Ep3, forgive my ramblings. It's the ramblings of a madman. And I bid you an adieu or goodbye. I don't care.